organized, because it's in time of war, everything is calculated, because it's a time of necessity. It's a time of urgency and emergency. Yes.
And man and beast probably numbered and
Man and beast. Man and beast are properly numbered. Even, I mean, you know the number of people, you know the number of cattle, you know the number of sheep. Now, what does this tell us?
Yes, because it stands to reason, no order, nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, when he says man and beast are properly numbered, I mean, this juxtaposition, putting man and beast together, what does it mean? What's the significance of it? Man and beast, properly numbered and carted off. What does it mean? What significance does it have when you juxtapose man and beast? When you put man next to beast, what does this mean?
Yes.
Yes, Yusuf.
Yes, means the man or the human or the people, the same with beast. They do not care about them. They do not care about,
exactly.
do not care about their soul. They do not care about.
Exactly. In a time of war, he says. Now, we can refute his argument. نقدر نفند يعني رأيه أو طروحاته هذا السارجنت, because he says, you know, peace, that's just a mess. War restores order. This is his argument. All right.
Yes.
But he deconstructs, يفكك يعني his argument when he says man and beast are properly numbered and carted off, which means that there's no attention given to human beings in time of war. Man and beast are almost the same. They are both carted off. See, just like animals, a human being has no significance, no importance whatsoever. And definitely here, he refers to who? He refers, I believe, I mean personally, I believe he refers to the Holocaust of the Jews when they were carted off. I mean, millions of people were carted off and burnt alive. They were burnt alive in the concentration camps and the Auschwitz, they call them in German.
Yes. It refers to the Holocaust that Hitler make it by the Jewish people.
Yes. This is what Hitler did to them. All right? He killed, they believe he killed 6 million Jews in the concentration camps. You know, personally speaking, I don't trust history. I don't trust history. Because as one French thinker says, l'histoire est une histoire. That is, history is a story. Because the word histoire and histoire mean history and story at the same time. All right? He says, l'histoire est une histoire. History is a story. That is to say, what does it mean when we say history is a story? It means that it means it is influenced by the one who writes it. It depends on the way he is oriented or orientated. Now, if a writer is a Marxist, then he will write perhaps to be a pro-Marxist. If he is a communist, he will be pro-communist. If he is a capitalist, then he will be pro-capitalist, يعني ساند أو داعم, advocate يعني, to the capitalist system and so on. Do you see the point? So, yes, man and beast are not properly numbered and carted off, which means that in time of war, man and beast are all the same. The significance of them depends on who is most valuable to them. At times, animals become more valuable than human beings in time of war. All right? Yes. All right. Do you have any question? Do you have any questions so far, guys? All right. So.
Sir, I'm sorry, but I have a question.
Yes.
So we understand from the surgeon, he is with the war or he is not with the war?
Yes, he is definitely. He is with the war. He is with the war, right? And this is why he says, peace, that's just a mess. We need war to bring back order. And he gives his reasons. He says in peacetime, we don't count things. We live as we please. But in time of war, everything is organized, everything is numbered, man and beast, and so on. Do you see the point?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, all right, welcome, yes. Yes, and the recruiter consents to what the sergeant says. He says, most true or true, too true, he says. Sergeant, yes? Noor, can you continue, please? Sorry, Betul Abbas.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Sergeant says, same.
Same with all good things. It's a job to get a war going. But once...
It's a job. See, this is important. He says, same with all good things. See, good things. Yeah, they think that war is good, is a good thing. It's a job to get a war going. It's a job, which means that there is someone who is in charge of, conducting this war, making this war, because it's just like a job. Yes.
But once it's blossomed out, there is no holding it.
Yes, it means that. It means. Guys, it's very simple. He says that it's same with all good things. It's a job to get a war going. There's someone whose job is, just a minute, Yusuf. Yes. There's someone whose job is to make a war, all right? There are people whose job is to create wars in the world. They make wars. This is their job. Now, he says, but once it's blossomed, once the war begins, blossom just like a flower, once it's blossomed out, there is no holding it. And here there is a kind of a metaphor here. It's a reference to a bomb, all right? It's a reference to a bomb, It says, but once it's blossomed, when the flower blossoms just like this, just like a bomb when it is, when it explodes, عندما تنفجر. It says, but when it's blossomed out, there is no holding it. When the war begins, nobody can stop it. Yes, Yusuf, do you have a question?
Sir, I don't have a question, but when you say it's simple, I'm busy to write with you, to write what you say.
Okay, Yusuf, okay, no problem. Yes. Says, yes, please continue.
Folk start fighting shy of peace, like puncher what can't stop for fear of having to set up what they lost.
Yes, which means what? It means what? Here, it means those parties engaged in war, and if two countries, fight or get involved in a war, like Iran and Iraq, see? It says, but once it's blossomed out, there is no holding it. Folk means people start fighting shy of peace. They don't want to submit and ask for peace because they are shy. They might describe them as cowards, all right? So when they begin fighting, nobody will ask for peace or ask to stop the war because they are shy. of peace, just like who? Like punters. Who are the punters? They are called gamblers. You know gamblers?
Yes.
المقامرين يعني القمار. Like gamblers. What cannot stop? Who cannot stop for fear of having to tot up what they lost. For fear they know the result of their losses. They don't want to tot up means to add up. يجمعون خسائرهم يعني. They are afraid to add up or add up their losses. So they don't want to stop the war. They continue fighting, all right, and never stop. Yes.
For that, it's war they are fighting shy of. It's something new to them.
Right. Recruiter, Yusuf, recruiter, please.
Yes. Recruiter. Hey, here's a cart coming. Two tarts with two young fellows. Stop here.
No, stop here. Stop her.
Stop her.
موقفها يعني. Stop her.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes means the war. Stop her.
No. Yes.
Or okay.
You know, the recruiter and the sergeant are arguing. They are talking about the war. Okay.
Yes.
As they speak, they see a cart coming towards them. All right. It says, "Hey, here is a cart coming. Two tarts, two women." But he doesn't two women. He says two tarts. And tarts means two prostitutes, two immoral women. This is the language of the soldiers, you know.
Yes.
Two tarts with two young fellows, with two young men. Stop her. Stop the cart, and stop the woman, sergeant. If this one's a flop, I am not standing around in your spring winds any longer. What does he mean? If this one's a flop, what is the meaning of flop?
Flop.
طلاب انتوا ليش تجون المحاضرة؟ ليش تحضرون؟
يس هبوط مفاجئ معناها او هيك يعني؟
نو انتوا ليش ما تنامون بالبيت؟ مو احسن لكم قاعدين من النوم والله وانا ساركم حتى لو ما تريقت. اجيت على من اعطيكم المحاضرة مو؟ لو ترجعون تنامون والله وايد اشرف لكم واحسن لكم. يعني انت طالب تجون للمحاضرة غير المفروض تحضرون تقرون الكلمات الصعبة حتى تفهمون. يعني هي المسرحية اصلا صعبة. انتم ما تطلعون الكلمات راح تدوخون. يعني انتم ما تطلعون الكلمات لازم انا ايضا اوضح لكم حتى تفهمون السيجنفكنس طلاب. اذا انتم ما عندكم انترست ما تقرون اي شيء يعني شلون تتوقعون راح تفهمون وتتعلمون يعني. طلابكم امتحان نهائي ترى بالجامعه بالقسم. ثقوا بالله العظيم على هذا مستواكم وضعيتكم هذه ولا واحد ينجح ولا واحد. انا mean it no one. وهاي السنه I don't care يعني حتى لو ارسم الدفعه كلها اقسم بالله ما اطلع طالب ما يستحق. يعني انت طالب عندك 100,000 قاموس الانترنت قدامك يعني كلمه فلوب خليها بالجوجل ايش صار عليك يعني واكتبها على الكتاب. اكتب فلوب فيلير يعني معناها فياسكو.
فيل
ما يصير شو طلاب ما يصير يعني. يعني شو انا طالب عندكم انتم طلاب واجبكم هذا طلاب طلعون كلمات صعبه وتشوفوها يا عيني حتى افهمكم اني. انت حاول وانا ادعمك هذا وهاي الوظيفه هي تصير. مو انت جاي كل شيء ماكو تصورني راح ادخل المعلومات بدماغك. انت رافض الفكره يعني. انت رافض تتعلم ما اعرف ليش يعني. يعني اذا انا اشرح لكم بشكل مبسط واحاول افهمكم انتم ما جد تعبون نفسكم يعني 10% ما جد تعبون نفسكم. اقروا شوي بالبيت يعني. 33 طالب هسه حاضرين عندي اللي يشاركون 4 بس. زين ما اعرف الباقيين ذول شلون راح ينجحون يعني متصورين بالنقل يعني. اللي يجيب جد بالامتحان الشهري يدخل بساعه 30 35 بالاخير انطي 0. ولو صدق حقهم، الحكومه تنجح تعطيك 15 درجه ينجح. حقهم والله، طلعون فاشلين. تقبلون احسن لو تستفادون. هذا ضبطهم طلاب، انتم صار لكم 3 سنوات كل شيء ماكو سكراب. خلينا نضبطكم هاي السنه، تطلعون شوي عندكم في الشيء. تسمعون طلاب لو ما يسمعون؟ يعني انا على شنو ضايج؟ انا غير على اضوج عليكم يا بابا، غير اضوج عليكم اني اريدكم تصيرون بيكم حظ. يعني احسن تتخرجون هسه تتخرجون وتدرسون غلط، والطالب اللي يكتب صح تقولوا له لا غلط. هو الطالب مرات احسن من المدرس، تدرون لو ما تدرون. اعرف مدرسين انا اعرفهم فاشلين بالاعداديات والمتوسطات. الطالب هو يعرف الصح والمدرس يقول له لا هذا خطا. تصيرون هيك تقبلون؟ تصيرون هيك طلاب؟ ما رأفت تقبل هيك تصير؟
لا استاذ اكيد ما نقبل.
مو تمام؟ يعني انا تدرون من الصبح وصلت جاي المدارس وجاي ركض والله حتى نعطيكم المحاضره، يعني على مود حريص على وقتكم واريدكم يعني تستفادون.
ان شاء الله استاذ.
الكلمات من تجون طلاب تقرون الفصل مثل السين، ابدي اقراها المسرحيه طلاب عين، واطلع الكلمات الصعبه، خلي جوا خط اطلعها بالقاموس الكلمه واكتبها فوق. من ترجع تقراها والكلمات موجوده عندك واضحه، راح تصير عندك فكره 100%. يعني انت راح تفهم النص 80% على الاقل. الشيء الغامض انا اوضح لك اياه. alright so he says,
إن شاء الله.
he says the recruiter, what did we say about the recruiter? What is his job? What is the recruiter's job?
Yes, may I?
Yes, for those.
Give soldier.
brings soldiers to the army. يجند يعني
Yes.
المجند. recruiter معناه المجند، يجند الجنود بالحرب. واضح؟ alright so in the first speech by the recruiter, in the first page of the scene, what does he feel? He doesn't feel well. He is annoyed. You know annoyed?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. He is pissed off. Why is he annoyed? Why? Because soldiers refuse to go to the war. Young men do not want to go to the war. All right? So his job is stand in the middle of the street and stop people and recruit them to go to the army. Now, as they speak, the recruiter and the sergeant, Mother Courage comes with her 2 sons and daughter. He says, here is a cart coming, 2 tarts with 2 young fellows. Stop her, sergeant. If this one's a flop, if this operation is a failure, if we fail to enlist these 2 young men, he says, I am not standing around in your spring winds any longer. It means I won't be here next year. I will be punished or I will leave the army, whatever, I can tell you. Now, we have the stage direction in these 2 italics, these 2 lines, italicized lines, المائلة كتاب المائلة. Sound of a Jewish harp. Sound of a Jewish harp. What is a Jewish harp? A Jewish harp is a musical instrument held, in the mouth between the teeth, and then they blow in it to produce music. Sound of a Jewish harp. شايفيها القطعة الحديثة.
قيثارة معناتها هورب؟
لا مو قيثارة، يعني تشوف الشيء مثل.
نعم استاذ مثقب.
نعم.
استاذ قطعة هيك يمكن مربع قد تشوفه مثقبة يمكن.
تقريبا بالضبط شيء قريب قصير يعني تمام. ساوند. سمعوا الموسيقى مالتها drawn. هاي قصة الجملة. Drawn by 2 young fellows, a covered cart rolls in. There is a cart coming, drawn. 2 young men draw this cart. On it, sit Mother Courage and her dumb daughter, Catherine. All right, these are the 2 tarts, as he says. Mother Courage says, "Morning, Sergeant," and the sergeant blocking the way. He stops them, blocking the way. "Morning, all, and who are you?" Who are you guys? He asks them. Mother Courage begins to sing. All right? She sings. But before she sings, she says, we are business folk. We are, business folk, people who are engaged in business. We sell and buy, بياع شر يعني. And then she sings, you captains, she is addressing who? The army. You captains, tell the drums to slacken. Which means what? It means take some rest from the war, because the word drum refers to the war here. When they have war, they have drums. So they keep banging on these drums as a sign of war, all right? So she tells them, you captains, tell the drums to slacken and give your infanteers a break, and give your soldiers a break. It's Mother Courage with her wagon full of the finest boots they make. I have many, many goods for you to sell, with the crawling lice and looted cattle, with lumbering guns and straggling kit. These are some of the stuff she sells for the soldiers. How can you flog them into battle? How can you take your soldiers to the battle unless you get them boots that fit, unless you dress them very well? The New Year's come, the watchmen shout, the thaw sets in. Thaw means warm weather. Sets in, comes in. The dead remain. The dead people will never rise. The dead remain. Wherever life has not died out, it staggers to its feet again. Means if, like for instance, if a soldier is not dead, then he will be recovered, or he will recover in the future. Or if the war does not die, it will begin once again. The second stanza, captains, how can you make them face it? How can you make them face death or face the war? Marching to death without a brew, making your soldiers, how could you make your soldiers go to death without having a proper meal, a good meal? Courage, that is her name. Her name is Courage. Courage has rum. Rum is a beverage, is a drink. Courage has rum with which to lace it. To lace it and boil their souls and bodies through. It says, I have drinks that will make their souls like fire, as long as they drink. This is a fact. When people drink alcohol, you know what happens to them?
Yes, I think when the weather is cold, probably they drink alcohol to make them warm.
To make them fight, yes.
Yes, or fire from inside there, from inside.
Have you ever been in such experience, Yusuf? Have you ever drunk? Have you ever drunk before?
Have you drunk? No.
You don't drink?
Yes, but I saw it once, just once.
Did you drink?
No.
No? How could you live then if you don't drink?
Drink but water, not another thing.
This is what I mean. Yes, this is what I mean, Yusuf. All right.
Yeah.
Now, it is said that it's a fact. It's a scientific fact. When people drink alcohol, what happens to them is that they have courage. But this kind of courage, we call it in English Dutch courage. Dutch courage. D-U-T-C-H, Dutch courage, شجاعة هولندية. All right, we call it Dutch courage. When they drink alcohol and become brave, become courageous. So Mother Courage says, I have drinks. When they have them, when they drink them, they will be courageous. Their musket primed, their rifles بنادقهم يعني primed, rise high يعني their stomach hollow. Captains, you know hollow? Hollow means empty. Yes. Captains, your men don't look so well. So feed them, give them food, feed them up and let them follow, let them go to the battle. While you command them into hell, while you take them into their destiny, into hell, or the hell of war. The New Year's come, this is a refrain, we call it in poetry. The New Year's come, the watchmen shout, the thoughts had sinned, the dead men remain wherever life has not died out, saggers to the street again, and so on. All right. So the sergeant tells them to stop. He says, hold, stop. Hold is an old word, which means a stop. Who are you with, you trash? You know the word trash?
Garbage.
Yes.
Garbage, litter.
Garbage or litter, right. Good. Who are you with, you trash? Who are you with, which means what? What is he asking them?
He asked them about the young man with hair.
No.
يسألهم بأي وحدة أنتم ملتحقين بأي جيش
Right.
يعني.
Yes, excellent. Yes, Benin. Yes, very good. But try to speak in English next time, Benin. Thank you. Yes, he means to say on whose side you are. On whose side? Are you with the Swedish or with the Polish? Are you with the Second Finnish Regiment or the Polish? Who are you with, you trash? And the elder son, الابن الأكبر اللي هو Eilif. All right, Eilif. He says Second Finnish Regiment. That is the Protestant army. The sergeant says, "Where is your papers? Where's your papers?" And Malkar says, "Papers." The younger son, Swiss cheese. Her son, Swiss cheese. The younger son. What? Mean to say you don't know Mother Courage? يعني شنو انت ما تعرف امي يعني معقوله ما تعرف ماذر كوريج؟ انا واحد مثل يعني ام سعاد حسني مثلا يقول له واحد طين هويتك يقول له هاي ام سعاد حسني ما تعرفها معقوله مثلا فشيء او لميعة توفيق مثلا يعني
Something strange will happen.
او يعني ما اعرف شهد الشمري مثلا
محسوب على بشر شهد الشمري
يعني مثلا واحدة من المعروفات يعني يقول له what mean to say you don't know Mother Courage, you don't know my mother, and the sergeant says never heard of her. What's she called Courage for? Why do they call her Courage? And then Mother Courage says Courage is the name they gave me because I was scared of going broke, Sergeant, so I drove my cart right through the bombardment of Riga. She says, I was afraid because I was about to be bankrupt. كنت على وشك الإفلاس. So I took my cart and started selling. All right? Says I drove my cart right through the bombardment of Riga. دخلت بالقصف مال مدينة ريغا تذكرت تقول له bombardment يعني shelling or bombing shelling مال مدافع القصف with 50 loaves مع 50 رغيف خبز of bread aboard يعني on my cart. They were going moldy. They were rotten or spoiled. عفنت يعني هذا الخبز عفن. It was high time. It was high time means the war was at its peak. كانت الحرب في قمتها يعني. Hadn't any choice really. Hadn't any choice. I had no other alternative, as they say. ما عندي بديل آخر يعني. All right. This is why they call me courage. Now pay attention to the word courage and the concept of courage in this play, which is very, very important. We will see whether she deserves to be called courage or not. And what does Brecht, as a playwright, think of courage? And how does he want to convey to his audience that true courage should be? So the sergeant says, don't be funny with me, your papers. Says, I'm asking for your papers, so don't beat about the bush. لا تلفين وتدورين يعني. And Mother Courage, pulling a bundle of papers from a tin box. شايفين العجائز مالتنا قبل ولا ما شايفينهم؟
Yes.
Yeah.
عندهم هاي البقشة يسموها صندوقشة يسموها.
Yes, it's called bundle in English.
Yes, tin box. Right, tin box has Mother Courage's papers. And climbing down off the cart, هي كانت on the cart. So when he asks about her papers, she opens the tin box and gets some of the papers to hand them over to him. So she climbs down. She descends, تنزل يعني, off the cart. Says, that's all my papers, Sergeant. You will find a whole big missile from Altötting in Bavaria for wrapping gherkins in. دولة الأوراق. هاي أوراق مال دولما إذا تريد أوراق. هاي أوراق موجودة تلف بيها خوش تلف بيها أكل يعني. And a road map of Moravia. وهذه أيضا خريطة طريق مال Moravia. The Lord knows when I'll ever get there. الله يعلم شو وقت راح أوصل هالمورافيا. Might as well chuck it away. And here is a stamped certificate. وهذه وثيقة مختومة that my horse hasn't got foot and mouth. وهي وثيقة مختومة تشهد بأنه الحصان مالتي ما بيه مرض الفوت and mouth. هذا مرض للأحصنة. Only he's dead, worst luck. بس فقط هو أنه نحس يعني لا أكثر ولا أقل. Cost 15 florins he did. كلفني 15 فلورن. Not me luckily. That enough paper for you? يعني بشرفكم واحد واقف بالسيطرة يقول له انطينا الهوية مالتك. يطلع لهم مثلا شهادة الوفاة مال الأمة مثلا. لو وثيقة مال التلقيح. فتتخيلوا Mother Courage what she is trying to do with the sergeant. And the sergeant, he says, you're pulling my leg. You're pulling my leg. I'll knock. يعني تردين تستدرجيني يعني تستدرجيني. بس بها معنى غير معنى. بها إيحاء غير إيحاء. يعني it has another connotation. It says you're pulling my leg. يعني قاعدة كأنما تغويني هنا بهالمعنى. تغويني من المرأة تغوي الرجل. It says you're pulling my leg. I'll knock that sauce out of you. You know sauce? Sauce معناها شو؟
sauce معناته
انت تحب الفلافل. لازم تحب الفلافل محمد.
لا it's meaning it's
تفكيرك مثل الصوص. صوص صحيح معناها صوص صحيح. صوص تيجي صوص. بس صوص هي معناها brazen face. وقاحة. flippancy وقاحة.
impertinence, effrontery.
Yes, I'll knock that sauce out of you. Suppose you know you got to have a license. You should know that you have, or you should have a license to work around here. All right? And then Mother Courage says, talk proper to me. Speak well to me. Do you mind? And don't you dare say, I'm pulling your leg in front of my unsullied children. وعيب عليك تحكي حكي قدام جهال هذول الأبرياء. شلون جهالهم الأبرياء؟ هاي لفوا سويس تشيز. ein decent. decent محتشم. ein decent يعني من غير اللائق. It's improbable يعني inappropriate غير ملائم to talk like this before my children. I got no time for you. I'm busy, so leave me alone. Let me go. Says my honest face. That's my license. Or that's my license with the second Finnish regiment. يعني أنا وجهي كافي، هو ما يحتاج بعد يعني أي هوية أخرى. وجهي كلش كافي، هذا هوية يعني. It's indecent. I got no time for you. My honest face. That's my license with the second Finnish regiment, or the second regiment. And if it's too difficult for you to read, there is naught I can do about it. It's your problem if you fail to assess things around. You should have known that I am a good woman, but if you cannot read my countenance, my face, then I cannot do anything about it. It says nobody's putting a stamp on that. يعني على وجه ما حد يقدر، يعني ماكو واحد يخلي ختم على الوجه مالته يعني. The recruiter says, yes, Muhammad.
Yes, recruiter said, Sergeant, methinks I smell insubordination in this individual. What's needed in our camp is obedience.
Obedience, Muhammad. The sergeant says,
obedience.
Sergeant, methinks I smell insubordination. Insubordination means?
عصيان.
disobedience.
Not
Yes, Asma?
Not
Yeah,
obey.
in Arabic it means عصيان.
Yes. Insurgency معناها بالإنجليزي. Insurgency معناها أيضا disobedience. He says this individual is disobedient يعني متمرد. What's needed in our camp is obedience. اللي نحتاجه احنا معسكرنا شنو هو الضبط والطاعة. Obedience. See how does Mother Courage retort? How does she respond? She says, what you need in your camp is what? She says sausage. If you ask me. انتوا تحتاجون اكل يعني. تحتاجون sausage يعني. تاكلون. مو تحتاجون الطاعة. انتوا جوعانين هسه ما عندكم اكل. زين شو تسوي بالطاعة؟ خلينا تولي. Sausage if you ask me. And the sergeant tells her, name. شو اسمك يعني? What's your name? Name. She says, Anna Fearling. You all called Fearling then. All of you, all the family are called Fearling. This is an interesting conversation that will follow. She says, are you all called Fearling, right? She says, what? What do you mean? It's me called Fearling, not them. هذا اسمي أنا Fearling. مو أطفالي مو أولادي. Which is unusual, of course, because if a woman is called by a name, the name of her husband, then all the kids are called by the name of this person. Like, for instance, when she says, I am Mrs. Smith, then they will be called the Smiths. عائلة آل Smith, تمام? The sons, and also called the Smiths. All of them, right? Now, Mother Courage says, what do you mean? It's me called Fearling, not them. This is my name, not my kids' names. All right. The sergeant says, aren't all this lot your children? Aren't all this lot, all these people, all these human beings your children? And Mother Courage says, you bet they are. Of course they are. But why should they all have to be called the same? يعني صدقهم ما كلهم أولادي بس ليش كلهم لازم شايلين نفس الاسم يعني؟ جوزاني متزوجة 4 رجولة 5 يعني مثلا. She wants to say. Now pointing to her elder son. بلشت بيهم واحد. أشرت على الولد الكبير يعني. For instance, that one's called Ailif Noyoski. Why? ليش نسميه آيلف نويورسكي? his father always claimed he was called Koyoski or Moyoski or something. Now these names are Finnish names from Finland. فنلندية اسمها فنلندية يعني. The boy remembers him clearly. The boy remembers his father clearly, except that the one he remembers was someone else. يعني عائلة يتخيل انه هو يعرف ابوه بس هو مو ابوه هذا. Says except that the one he remembers was someone else, a Frenchie with a little beard. شخص فرنسي بلحية قصيرة يعني. Aside from that, he's got his father's wits, his father's mind and intelligence. That man knew how to snitch a peasant pants. Snitch means steal. A peasant's pants off his bum. يعني يقدر يسرق البنطلون مال الفلاح أو ملابس الداخلية من عنده without him noticing, بدون أي ما يلاحظ هذا الشيء. She wants to say that he is very good in this. This way, each of us has his own name. Each one, including me, we have our own names. يعني كل واحد اسمه مختلف عن الثاني. Sergeant says, what? Each one different? Mother Curry says, don't tell me you ain't never come across that. شنو مر عليك هاي السالفة قبل يعني؟ ما مر بك حالة؟ And the sergeant says, so I suppose he's a Chinaman, pointing to the younger son, to Swiss cheese. وهاي الاثناء هو كان ينظر للسويس تشيز، قال هذا المفروض على هذا الحكي مالتك يعني هذا ابنك هذا الصغير اكيد صيني يعني نص صين. And Mother says wrong. Swiss خطأ. هذا Swiss. Swiss she means a Swiss cheese. But the sergeant will receive it as what? As someone who is from Switzerland. Swissri يعني. We call this in English, what do you call this?
From Switzerland? This boy is...
Yeah, I mean, what do you call this in English يعني? When you say a word and you mean the opposite of it.
Contrast or irony?
Irony?
No, it's not an irony. It's in fact, when you have one word, all right?
Opposite?
No, when you have one word and you want the other.
Contrary?
You have a hidden intent. All right?
Pun?
Yes?
Allusion?
Pun, yes. غدير? Yes, pun. جناس. Pun. Like for instance, the word soul and soul, يعني soul S-O-U-L معناها روح. soul الكلمة الثانية S-O-L-E معناها الطرقة مال النعال، تكرمون جوهر النعال يسموها soul. فهذه مسرحية شكسبير اسمها As You Like It بالفصل الأول. يعني واحد رقاع مال أحذية اسمه كوبلر هو رقاع مال أحذية سكافي. يجي واحد من الحكومة يحكي وياه وش اسمه، يقول له بالعكس والله أنا أحترمك يعني you are the soul of my soul. The soul of my soul. روحي يعني، بس هو يقصد شنو؟ الطرقة مالت النعال مالتي يعني. واضح؟ هذا نسميه pun. هنا نفس الشيء، هي تتوصل له انه هذا ابنها سويس، تتوصل له بانه هذا سويسري، بس هي تقصد السويس، ابنها سويس تشيز.
استاذ شو اسمها المسرحية؟
الشكسبير؟
اي
As You Like It.
لا هاي اللي قلت عليها استوى قبل شوية.
As You Like It ويليام شكسبير. As You Like It.
اوكي ثانك يو.
هذا شكسبير كتب المسرحية وما خلى لها عنوان، بعدين خلى كتاب As You Like It بكيفك يعني، شو تكتب عنوان اللي اكتب عنوان. Alright? So when she tells the sergeant Swiss, the sergeant says after the Frenchman. هذا على أبوه الفرنسي يعني. Mother says what a Frenchman. I never heard tell of no Frenchman. أنا شو كنت جايب اسم فرنسي وقاله واحد فرنسي يعني. You keep muddling things. أنت جاي تخلط الأشياء يعني. You keep mixing things. Well, sorry. We will be hanging around here till dark. يعني we will spend more time here because you don't understand. A Swiss called Theos. And the name has now to do with his father. الاسم ما له علاقة بأبوه يعني. He was called something quite different and was a fortifications engineer, only drunk all the time. She's talking about Swiss Cheese's father. His father was an engineer, a fortifications engineer, and was drunk all the time. Now, what happens at this moment? If you see this line in italics, المائل, Swiss cheese beams and nods. Dame Catherine too is amused. Swiss cheese beams, smiles broadly. يعني شارك حلقة يضحك فرحان من نصبة أمه ناصبة عليهم على السارجنت وعلى الريكروتر. Swiss cheese beams and nods. And Dame Catherine, بنتها كاترين الخرسة يعني, is amused too. She's amused because they are accustomed to the way their mother tackles. يعني هم مع الجود يعني تنصب عليهم تضحك عليهم. The sergeant fails. Mother don't like the rude sergeant. والله ما تفضل وياك يعني. But you ain't got much imagination. بس أنت ما عندك خيال. كلش تعبان. Of course he's called Theos. Because when he arrived I was with him again. لو من جاء الدنيا أنا متزوج واحد هنغاري. Very decent fellow. رجال كلش مؤدب وحباب يعني. Had terrible kidney trouble. بس كانت عنده مشاكل بالكلى مالته. Though he never touched a drop. بس ما كان يشرب. على الرغم انه ما كان يشرب. The boy takes after him. ابني سميته علي يعني. واضح؟ شايفين عادل امام مسرحيته الواتس شغال شايفين؟
Yes.
اكو هذا المشهد اللي ينصب به عادل امام على ذول المفتشين من قاعد بالمطبخ هو وخاله شايفين؟
Yeah.
هو هذا نفس المشهد اللي ناصبه بماذا كارج على ذول الاثنين. يعني تشيب شيء حتى تدوخهم وتنسيهم الهويه مالتها والاوراق. It's the same thing يعني. Yes, Rafet?
Yes, I mean I get it.
Okay, good. So the sergeant says, but he wasn't his father. Mother Courage took after him just the same. I call him Swiss cheese. Pointing to her daughter. قصة أشر على كاترين. And that's Catherine Haupt. She is half German. هاي نص ألمانية يعني. Sergeant says, nice family I must say. دول طيبين قوي. ها? Nice family I must say. يعني عائلة طيبة ما شاء الله. Mother Curry says, me Cart and me have seen the world. We have, seen every part of this world. She means Europe, I guess. And the sergeant says, I'm writing all this down, okay? All what you told me, I'm writing this down. Now, this conversation about the origin of Mother Courage's sons, the French, the Hungarian, the Swiss, and so on. What does it mean? What significance? Why does Brecht put such a conversation here in this play? What do you think?
Maybe.
May I?
Yes.
May I?
Yes, please.
Me?
Yes, Benin.
I think the purpose of this paragraph is used. Mother Courage used different ways to protect her children from enlisting in the war by first of all not giving him the papers, and then she mixed the information but by say that every child from a different region.
Yes, and what was the significance? Why is it important for us? Now, don't forget the context in which the play was written. لا تنسوا أن المسرحية كتبت بالحرب العالمية الثانية يعني 1939.
Yes, it refers that a lot of countries.
There is a message that Brecht wants to convey to us. Just a second, Mohammed, let's see Benin. What does she want to say? Yes, Benin, continue.
I think a lot of countries enrolled in this war.
No, Benin, no. I will explain this later. Yes, Mohammed.
Yeah, I want to say just what she mentioned at last of her speech. All the countries that the writer mentioned it means that they get involved in the Second World War.
No, it has nothing to do with this.
Yes, may I?
Yes, please, Firdaus.
I think to save her children to not take him to army or something like this.
No. This catalog, as they say, this catalog of miscegenation of this marriage, these different marriages, they call is kind of a dig. It's a kind of a dig at the Nazi theories of race, because as you know, Hitler was a racist. He preferred the Germans to every other race in the world. He put the Germans on top and the rest of the world down below. And out of this, in fact, he killed the Jews in the Holocaust. This is a reference to the theories of race, of Hitler's race theories, نظريات العراق يعني اللي كان هتلر هو يتكلم عنها يعني. Yes, Benny?
Yeah, I mean the racism, the عنصرية.
Yes, right. Yeah, he was a racist. Brecht was a racist. He was an anti-Semite. Anti-Semite يعني معادل السامية. And this is why he killed the Jews. Why this is why he killed the Jews? Because the Jews were Semites, ساميين, just like the Arabs. احنا العرب ايضا ساميين مثل اليهود. هم اليهود او اولاد عمنا بالمناسبة. تدرون اقرب الناس انهم اليهود؟
يستدل عاشوا بالعراق معلومات.
نعم.
يعني
دقيقة محمد، خلينا نشوف رأفت.
أقول لك أستاذ تقولوا دعمني ليش 24 سنة عندنا حرب أدري عندنا ورثني العرق عليه.
رأفت بشرفك أنت شايف أقوى العركات ويا من الصير ولد العم يتعاركون شايفهم الصير دائما قتل ومقتول بيناتهم مو تمام أقوى شيء يصير بيناتهم. ولذلك هم شوف بجد ما هم قريبين علينا قد ما هم بعيدين علينا. اكو فيلم مصري اسمه اولاد العم شايفين؟ الاشرف منير وعبد الكريم عبد العزيز
يمكن يصير
زين اي يعني في شيء من هالقبيل يعني هم اولاد عم يعني العرب من نفس الاب ونفس الام ونفس العائله يعني الساميين يعني من سامي بن نوح.
نعم استاذ نرجع نفس الجد.
تمام. Alright. So this catalog, as they say, a catalog of miscegenation. يعني الزواج اللي هو ما مناسب ما ملائم. Miscegenation by Mother Courage, of the Hungarian, of the Finnish, of the French, and so on. Yes, or the Swiss. All these, miscegenations, these marriages are only a reference to the race theories of Hitler, or Hitler's race theories. Right? All right. So, now the sergeant says, I'm writing this down. He writes and says, and you are from Bamberg in Bavaria. How do you come to be here? You are from a very long place. How could you make it here? شلون وصلت لهنا؟ هذا المكان بعيد يعني from Bamberg. You have the map, guys. The beginning of the play. Have a look at the map, please, if you have
Yes.
it. Have a look at the map and see
Yes.
where's Bamberg. This is Bamberg, right? Yes, this is Bamberg. Yeah. See, it's a very long distance. All right, so back to the play. He says, Malakar says, can't wait till war chooses to visit Bamberg, can I? Malakar says, I cannot wait for the war to come to me. I have to go to the war. Which means that what? What kind of woman is she?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Yusuf.
Yes. She is. She wants to get or gain or sell her things that she had or she has into the soldier. She gained from the war. Yes, gain money by selling her things.
All right. Yes, Asma. Thank you, Yusuf.
Yeah, I want to say the same thing. I want to say this woman is the woman who care about to collect the money, to go whatever. If this place is dangerous, if this place it's very dangerous to her, so she go to collect the money
Yes.
by
No
selling.
matter how the place is dangerous, she goes and sells. Right. All right. Yes.
Yes. Also, she took her children with her. She did not care about them. What will happen?
Right. Recruiter says to Ailif, you two should be called Jacob ox and Esau ox. Pulling the cart like that, I suppose you never get out of her harness. What does he tell them? What does he tell Ailif and Swiss cheese?
Yes, may I?
Batul?
He compares Aleph to these two characters.
Where are these characters from?
Jacob Ox from Bible, I think.
Yes, right.
They are strong.
From the
and
Bible?
he compares Aleph to these strong character.
Exactly. Yes. And what do you think? What does he have in mind when he tells them so?
He thinks that Aleph is very strong and healthy, as we read before.
Which means?
At the first page.
Yeah, which means that? What does he want to say? The recruiter.
He wants to say that Aleph is very strong and he should go to the war.
Yes, very good. This is why he calls them, you are strong. Very good.
Yes.
He wants to take them to the army. Right. Very good, Batul. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Aleph says, mother, can I clobber him once? Can I kick him or hit him once? I wouldn't half like to. I will be so eager to do so. Malakari says, and I says you cannot. Just you stop where you are, and now 2 fine officers like you, she talks to the soldier and to the sergeant and the recruiter, I bet you could use a good pistol or a belt buckle. Yours is on its last legs, Sergeant. So the first thing Mother Courage does is to tries to make the conversation a business transaction in order to evade or avoid their interference in her affairs and her son's. She wants to divert their attention. تحرف انتباههم، تشتت انتباههم. She wants to divert their attention from them by engaging them in a business transaction. عن طريق يعني إشغالهم بعملية تجارية يعني. She says that you, two fine officers like you, I bet you could use a good pistol. You know pistol?
Gun. It means maybe.
A gun or a belt buckle. A belt buckle. The metal thing attached to the end of a belt. هاي الحديدة مالت الحزام إذا شايفيها. Okay, سميها belt buckle. All right. Yours is on its last legs, Sergeant. يعني yours is very old. And the sergeant says, I could use something else. He says, no, I don't need your belt buckle. I need the boys. He says, those boys are healthy as young birch trees. As young birch trees. Birch, خشب، نوع من الخشب القوية حيل يسموها الزان، خشب الزان. I observe chests like barrels. صدورهم أولادك يعني صدورهم ما شاء الله شلون لاعبي كمال أجسام، منتفخة مثل برميل يعني. Chests like barrels. تذكرون pigeon chest بالبداية؟
Yes.
Then solid leg muscles just like the varicose veins بالبداية شفتوها؟ varicose veins يعني الأوداج المنتفخة، الأوردة المنتفخة للعضلات يعني القوة. Solid leg muscles. So why are they dodging? Why are they avoiding their military service? ليش هم هاربين من الخدمة العسكرية? May I ask? Mother Courage says, she quickly says, no, doing sergeant, yours is no trade for my kids. Yours means your business, your job is no trade. مو شغلتنا هاي احنا الجيش والقتال ما يعني it's no trade for my kids. And the recruiter says, why not? But why not? There is good money in it. Glory. بيها فلوس وبيها مجد. Glory too. It says, flogging boots is women's work. If you sell boots, this is a job for women, not for the men. And then to Ailif, he says, come here, let's see if you have muscles in you or if you are chicken. Let's see if you are strong, brave, or a coward. Mother Kari says, he is a chicken. Give him a fierce look, he'll fall over. يعني إذا نظرت له بغضب راح يغمى عليه يعني كلش هو ابني جبان بس عوفة للولد. Okay, because these are the emotions and feelings of a mother, you know. She's overprotective of her kids. Mothers in general are overprotective of their sons. The recruiter says, killing a young bull that happens to be in his way means that if Ailif walks and hits a bull, then when Ailif hits the bull will die, which means that Ailif is very strong. And wants to lead him off, wants to take him away. Mother Kari says, let him alone, will you? He is not for your folk. He cannot join you. We are different from you. He is not for your folk, for your people. The recruiter says he was crudely offensive. He was crudely offensive. كان عدائيا معي بغيضا معي يعني, and talked about clobbering me, talked about hitting me. تكلم عن ضربي يعني. The two of us, me and Ailif, are going to step into that field. We'll go into that field and settle it man to man. ونحل القضية رجل لرجل يعني. Ailif says, don't you worry mom, I'll fix him. ماما قالت خافي ما لك علاقة, أنا أعرف شلون أنا شغلي أعرف. أنا راح أضبطه يعني, I'll fix him. By the way, before this, if we go back to the recruiter's speech when he says, killing a young bull that happens to be in his way. See that?
Yes.
This line is a foreshadowing. is a foreshadowing of Ailif's death. Because Ailif will later on be engaged in a crime. He will kill a few peasants and take their bulls and take their cattle, right? You will see later on. I just want to remind you.
Sorry, which line?
Excuse me, Muhammad?
Which line you are talking about it?
Talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, line 5 from above by the recruiter. The recruiter says, killing a young bull that happens to be in his way. Have you seen that, Muhammad?
I saw it.
Yes. All right. And then, what do we say here? Yes. It says we're going to settle it man to man. Ailif says, don't you worry, Mom, I'll fix him. Mother Courage says, stop the, you varmint. What is varmint? Yeah. Obnoxious يعني في إنسان يعني مكروه. I know you not but fights. أنا أعرفك بس أبو طلايب ومشاكل يعني. Not but fights. There's a knife down his boot. A slasher, that's what he is. يعني Mother Courage, she changes her attitude now. At the beginning she says he's a chicken, all right? She says he's a chicken. But now, when she looks at things and sees that there is no escape, she says, my son is so brave and he carries a knife all the time, so be careful of him, he has a slasher, a knife. That's what he is. A slasher, he says. He has a knife down his boots, عنده سكينة يعني, a slasher. وابني يعني يضرب بها السكينة ما يخاف يعني. The recruiter says, I'll draw it out of him like a milk tooth. يعني راح اخذ السكينه من عنده شلون ما يشلعون الاسنون مال الطفل ماكو لبنيه الاسنان اللبنيه like a milk tooth. I'll draw it out of him like a milk tooth. Come along sonny, come Ailif.
أعتقد يريد يستدرجه.
Yeah, exactly. They want to fight, yes. And Courage says, Sergeant, I'll tell the colonel. Now Mother Courage tries to use many, let's say, ways to protect her son. First, she tries to divert their attention by talking about her marriages, her many marriages, or polygandry, as they say in English. Polygandry, do you know the word polygandry? Polygandry, have you heard of this word before? سامعين بالبوليجامي؟
No.
تعدد الزوجات؟
Yes.
Polygamy تعدد الزوجات. يعني الرجال من ياخذ اكثر من امرأة يقولون عنه polygamist، متعدد الزوجات، عنده هواي نسوان يعني. واكو polygandry متعدد الازواج، المرأة من تتزوج اكثر من الرجال يسموها polygandrist. واضح؟ So Mother Courage tries to talk about her polygandry and tries to divert the attention of the sergeant recruiter. Later on, she tries to strike a business deal with them, also to make them forget about her sons. Now, what does she do? She says, Sergeant, I'll tell the colonel, I'll report you to the colonel. راح أخبر العقيد عنكم. He'll have you both in irons. He will send you both to jail. The lieutenant or the lieutenant, both of them are correct. You say lieutenant or lieutenants, is going out with my daughter. And my daughter is kind of engaged to one of the officers. All right. Now, at this point, the sergeant says, no rough stuff, chum. No rough stuff. We don't mean any harm. Chum means pal, friend. The Mother Courage they say, What you got against military service? يعني أنت ليش الله جاي من الخدمة العسكرية؟ إيش بيها الخدمة العسكرية؟ Wasn't his own father a soldier? ليش أبوه كان عسكري يعني؟ Died a soldier's death. ومات ميتة الجنود الأبطال يعني. Said it yourself. أنت قبل شوي قلت لنا يعني. Mother Courage says, he is now but a child. You want to take him off to slaughterhouse. هذا طفل تتاخذ المجزرة أنت المذبح يعني. I know you lot. أنا أعرفكم أنتو شنو من بشر يعني. They'll give you 5 florins for him. أنت بايع يعني بايع ب5 florins 5 florins بايع الابن يعني. Recruiter says first he's going to get a smart cap and boots. As first he will have a smart cap. You know cap? You know cap?
Yeah,
Cap?
Huda.
Yes, and boots. Alif says not from you. مو من عندك يعني. Okay. Mother Courage says, now this is important, pay attention. This speech by Mother Courage, I want you to underline it. All right. She says, let's both go fishing, said angler to worm. The Swiss cheese, to her son she says, run off, call out, they are trying to kidnap your brother. All right. She pulls a knife. Go on, you kidnap him just to try. I'll slit you open. I'll slit you open, trash. I'll teach you to make war with him. We are doing an honest trade in ham and linen, and we are peaceable folk. She pulls a knife and threatens to kill the sergeant and the recruiter in case they take her son. And says, we are peaceable. We are peaceable. ناس مسالمين احنا يعني. And the sergeant says, peaceable? I don't think. Look at your knife. شو انتوا ناس مسالمين وشايلين انت. You should be ashamed of yourself. عيب عليك. Put that knife away. You old harridan. You unpleasant woman. A minute back you were admitting you live off the war. قبل شوي كنت تحكين انه تقولي انت عايشة على الحرب. عايشة من خير الحرب يعني. How else should you live? راح تعيشين بالحرب. What from? But how is anyone to have war without soldiers? And how could we continue the war without enlisting soldiers? مو انت عايشة من الحرب يعني. Mother Courage says no need for it to be my kids. مو إلا ضروري إلا أولادي يروحون بالحرب يموتون يعني. And the sergeant says, and this is also another important speech by the sergeant. Oh, you like war to eat the pips but spit out the apple? يعني تردين الحرب تاكل بذور التفاحة وترمي التفاحة يعني فشي يعني contradictory. It's to fatten up your kids but you won't invest it. يعني تردين تدخلين الحرب تستفيدين من عدها تعيشين من عدها يعني live out of it without offering anything in return بدون أن تقدمين أي شيء يعني بالمقابل. And says got to look after itself. يعني تردين الحرب من واحد تشتغل يعني وتحارب يعني ما قلت شيء. And you called courage وانت يسموه الشجاعة. fancy that. تخيلوا يا جماعة تخيلوا. Scared of the war that keeps you going. انت خايفة من الحرب اللي هي معيشتك يعني. Your sons aren't scared of it. I can see that. You have brave sons who are not afraid of the war. I can see them. Alif says take more than a war to scare me. يعني even the war does not scare me. We need something bigger than the war to scare me. And the sergeant says, and why? Look at me. He says, he tells Mother Courage, look at me. Has army life done all that badly by me? Did the war influence or affect me badly? Joined up at 17. I joined up at 17. دخلت الجيش من عمر 17 سنة يعني. Mother Courage says, it still got to reach 70. المفروض تعيش إلى 70 سنة. Mother Courage says, and the sergeant, I don't mind waiting, says. Mother Courage says, under the sod. يعني عمرك ما راح توصل 70 يعني. You will be under the sod. تحت الأرض يعني مدفون. The sergeant You trying to insult me saying I'll die. شنو تفاولين علي أنتي؟ تموتين يعني؟ And Mother says, suppose it's true. Suppose I can see the marks on you. Now, Mother Courage, through her conversation with the sergeant, she has another idea to avoid or to protect her sons. She wants to tell them that she can predict the future. تعرف المستقبل يعني.
Yes, guess the future.
Yes, exactly. So she suppose it's true. Suppose I can see the marks on you. I can read from your face that you will die. Suppose you look like a corpse on leave to me. أنا أشوفك أنت يعني جثة وطالعة من القبر ماخذ إجازة يعني. Swiss cheese. She has got second sight. Mother has. He says, my mother can read the future, can see the future. Recruiter, go ahead, tell the sergeant's fortune, why amuse him? And here, the way she looks like, a harridan, she looks like a wizard, she looks like a witch, شكلها ملابسها الرثة يعني تبين مثل الساحرة يعني. So when she tells them she can see the future, they believe her. Says, go ahead and tell the sergeant's fortune might amuse him. Mother Curry says, give me helmet, give me a helmet. You know helmet?
Yes, خوذة.
He gives it to her, and the sergeant says, it don't mean a bloody sausage. Anything for a laugh, though. Says, I don't believe in you. Says, it don't mean a bloody sausage. Anything for a laugh. لا خلينا نضحك شوي خلينا نتونس يعني خلينا نغير جو. Mother Curry says she takes out or taken out a sheet of parchment قطعة من الجلد يعني هذا البارشمنت and tearing it apart. هاي يكتبون عليها يعني بزمنهم. Aleph, Swiss cheese and Catherine. She tells them, Aleph, Swiss cheese and Catherine, may all of us be torn apart like this. يعني إن شاء الله نقطع مثل هذه الوصلة يعني أو القماش. If we let ourselves get too mixed up in the war, إذا خلينا نفسنا كلش نتدخل بالحرب يعني وننشغل بالحرب. To the sergeant, she tells him, just for you I'm doing it for free. ترى الخاطرك أنت أبو علاوي أسوي لك إياها بلاش اليوم. هاي ضرب التخت يعني أو ضرب الرمل. التنجيم. Said, I just for you I'm doing it for free. Blacks for death. خلينا نتفق من هسه الصليب الأسود معناه الموت هو blacks أو اللون الأسود هو للموت. I'm putting a big black cross on this slip of paper. Right? فهي وضعت صليب على القماش الأسود أو الأسود يعني دليل على الموت اللي سحبه من القبعة هو دليل على الموت مالته. Swiss cheese, leaving the other one blank. See? Swiss cheese tells them that the first one is black, the other one is blank, فارغ يعني. واحد فارغ وواحد بي عليه صليب. اللي يعني الصليب إنه الموت يعني. Mother Curry says, then I fold them, أطويهم يعني, across and shake them. All of us, see, all of us is jumbled together like this from our mother's womb. Now, the helmet here is symbolic of a mother's womb. رحم المرأة يعني أشبه برحم المرأة. She says all of us is jumbled, مخلوطين كل احنا together like this from our mother's womb. يعني كأنما قدرنا مكتوب على جبيننا يعني قبل ما نولد. And now draw a slip. هسه اسحب and you will know. ستعرف مصيرك. To the sergeant, and the sergeant hesitates. العريف شبيه يتردد بدا يشك يعني بنفسه يخاف. The recruiter to Aleph, I don't take just anybody, he says. ترى بالمناسبة قال ما أخذ أي واحد بالجيش أجنده يعني. They all know. الناس كلها تعرفني أنا من أجند I'm choosy. أنا أختار الأبطال يعني السباع يعني الأقوياء. But you got the kind of fire. I like to see. And يعني هو هذا هنا يكذب ما يكذب بس هي هاي الحقيقة يعني. It says but I can, or you got the kind of fire I like to see. How line underline it, this line, underline this line. هذا مهم. Then later on it will prove right, it will prove correct that Aleph is very brave. The sergeant fishing in the helmet, يدور على فد قصاصة يسحبها يعني من الخوذة. Too silly load of eyewash. And as he pulls, هو بينما هو يسحب يقول هذا كله خريط يعني حاج سامي، هذا هراء، كله هراء، شيء سخيف. Too silly load of eyewash. Eyewash معناها nonsense. Nonsense. Swiss cheese. Drawn a black cross. He has. Write him off. هذا مصيره منتهي. سحب صليب أسود يعني أكيد راح يموت. The recruiter. They are having you on. Not everybody's name on a bullet. And the sergeant says hoarsely, "You've put me in this shit. You put me in a very bad situation." يعني كأنما تتفاولين علي راح أموت. Mother Courage did that yourself the day you became a soldier. يعني you did it to yourself when you decided to be a soldier. You put yourself in this shit. Come along, let's move on now. It ain't every day we have a war. I got to get stirring. He says, leave me alone, I have to go because we have a war and we need to sell things. We need to sell. Don't stop me. And the sergeant, as Mother Courage wants to leave, قبل ما تتحرك Mother Courage تعوف وتروح, and the sergeant tells the recruiter, God damn it, you can't kid me. We are taking that bastard of yours for a soldier. He's so upset. He says, I won't leave you until you give us your son. All right, as a soldier. Isle of Swiss cheese, I'd like to be a soldier too. He says, my brother wants to be a soldier too. Mother Courage. First, I've heard of that. You will have to draw two, all three of you. She tells her kids, all of you will draw from the helmet. She goes to the rear to mark crosses. She goes to the rear of the car, تروح ورا العربة مالتها وتخلي صليب يعني on further steps على الورقة يعني further steps قطع صغيرة. Recruiter to Aleph. One of the things they say against us, now the recruiter is talking to Aleph, says one of the things they say against us is that it's all holy holy in the Swedish camp. What does he mean? What do you think? Hello, are you there, guys?
Yes.
What does he mean by they say about us all holy holy in the Swedish camp?
May I?
Yes.
I think we want to give an idea that in Swedish we
Just a second, Benita, please.
religious. Sorry.
Just a second, yes. Okay, go ahead.
I think he wanted to give us an idea that, or give Elif idea that this in Swedish they just pretended as if they are religious and just speaking about the God and holy holy يعني عندهم غارقون بالتقوى والطقوس الدينية. I think something like that.
Right. Yes, right. Exactly. يعني they portray them, they depict them as يصوروهم يعني they depict them, they portray them as unsound people or possessed people مهووسين يعني with religious rites and yes, religious rites, طقوس دينية يعني which are illogical, holy, something like this, he says. All right, and he says, but that's a malicious rumor to do us down. But this is a bad reputation. They want to destroy our reputation. They want to defamate defamate us يعني يشوهون سمعتنا يعني. من هم هذول يشوهون سمعتهم يردون منه؟ Who are they trying to defamate here? Who is defamating who?
Mother
That's
Courage,
the religious.
Who speak about religion? The holy?
Yes, for those who?
Who speak about the religious? About the whole thing?
Yes, who are trying to destroy their reputation. من يحاول يشوه سمعتهم؟ Who?
I think the mother Courage and her children.
No.
The Swedish.
Yes.
The people.
Yes, who said the Swedish?
Yeah, me.
Benin, who are the Swedish? Who are the Swedish?
I think the popes and the others in the church.
Do you think the Pope is a Swedish?
No, Catholic.
Right,
Sir,
exactly. So the Catholics, the Pope's guys are trying to destroy their reputation, to defamate them. Says, because the recruiter, the sergeant, Mother Courage, at this point are with the Swedish army, okay? They are Protestant. He says, the recruiter says that the Catholics are trying to destroy our reputation. They say that we are, in our camp, we are all holy. And that's malicious rumor, that's a bad rumor. يعني هذه إشاعة خبيثة يعني. Says there is no hymn singing. احنا ما عندنا أناشيد أو تواشيح دينية، ما عندنا تواشيح دينية. But Sundays, بس بالأحد, just a single verse. مجرد بيت شعر واحد يعني. And then only for those got voices. بس اللي أصواتهم حلوة يعني. Alright? Yes. وقتكم باش انتهي المحاضرة طلاب؟ باش الساعة تنتهي؟
العشرة ونص.
بعد 7 دقائق.
Alright, okay. So Mother Courage says, as she coming back with the slips, then now she went to the rear of the car to add further slips. She coming back with the slips, which she drops into the sergeant's helmet, trying to get away from the the devils off to war like calves to salt lick, but I'm making you draw lots. Says she tells her sons that you want to go to the army and leave your mother. I will make you draw and to see your luck, and that'll show you the world is no veil of joys, that the world is. This is a reference to the Bible also, that the world, in the Bible we say that the world is a veil of joys. Here she says the Bible is not a veil of joys. Now remember this line, because later on we will have the chaplain also trying to interpolate the biblical text, يحاول يشوه النص التوراتي يعني. Later on the chaplain شخصية الأخرى. She said the world is no veil of joys. With come along son, we need a few more generals, sergeant. I'm so scared they won't get through the war. Such dreadful characters, all three of them. She hands the helmet to Ailif, تعطيه الآيلف القبعة حتى يسحب منها. Hey, come on, fish out your slip. He fishes one out and folds it. She snatches it from him. There you are, it's a cross. Oh, wretched mother that I am. As she takes it from Ailif, she says, there is a cross, which means that Ailif will die. This is also a foreshadowing. This is also a foreshadowing of Ailif's death and all of her sons' death. It says, oh, pain-racked giver of birth. She's describing herself as a pain-racked giver. Yani she gave birth with pain to her sons. Shall he die? Aye. In the springtime of life, he is doomed. He is still young to die in the war, which is typical of all the soldiers who are young, who die in the war. If he becomes a soldier, he shall bite the dust. If he becomes a soldier, he will die. He will bite the dust. It's plain to see. It's quite obvious, واضح to see. He is too foolhardy. I underline the word foolhardy. This is this is Eilif's tragic flow. خلينا نقول عنها السقطة التراجيدية مالت Eilif. This is Eilif's tragic flow, or we call it hamartia. Hamartia. He is too foolhardy, like his dad was. يعني because being a foolhardy, مندفع, متهور, يعني reckless, or a devil may care, we call him, reckless. He will die because of this. He is foolhardy, like his dad was. And if he ain't sensible, he'll go the way all flesh. And he is not, he does not become responsible or sensible, then he will die. Go the way of all flesh means die. As a slip proves it, shouts at him, you going to be sensible. You have to be sensible. And Eilif says, why not? Well, the courage. Sensible thing is stay with your mother. Never mind. If they poke fun at you and call you chicken, just you laugh. If they tell you you are a coward, then just laugh. As long as you stay with your mother. The recruiter says, if you are pissing in your pants, I'll make do with your brother. If you are a coward, then I will take your brother. Mother Courage says, I told you laugh. Go on, laugh now. You draw Swiss cheese. And as you will read to the end of the scene, I would like to read the whole scene and also read it from scene 2. You will see that Swiss cheese will draw, Catherine will draw, and all of them draw black crosses, which means that they will die. This is called foreshadowing. All right? So we will continue next time, I guess, or do we have an exam next time?
We have the lecture on Sunday and the exam will be on Monday.
Right, perfect. Then we will continue in our next lecture. If you have questions, you can ask me later on. All right.
أستاذ دكتور المادة داخل الامتحان شنو هي؟
You receive 2 files, right? And you know the introduction of the play here in the book, in this textbook. The introduction.
Introduction on scene 1?
And if you read the introduction, that will be fine. يعني most of the questions are from the introduction. يعني all the questions are from the introduction. If you read the introduction, you will score a full mark.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining me, and see you next time. Thank you.